All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome into the circle. You have found us again. All right. Shoot the Gap, the fantasy football focus show spanning the generation gap of the 20s and 30s and 40s. And I'm just going to jump right into the introductions because everybody wants to know who's here. Got Ethan, my honor, my pleasure uh, introduce to you guys, Ethan, the Doc Marshall. How you doing, my brother?
Doing good, man. I'm excited to share knowledge today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what a doctor would say. And just because he's the guy that's like recording everything, I have to introduce her, or he's going to mute me out. It's Connor, the gut Marshall. How you doing, my brother?
Howdy, I'm well. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great, dude. Surviving the quarantine. Yeah, surviving it. Yeah. Hopefully, you guys are doing the same.
Well, it's eat or be eaten, right?
Yeah,
Either you
yeah.
eat good food and the virus doesn't eat you, or you don't and the virus eats you. It's all about eating.
That's why he's the gut, guys.
And
That's exactly.
guys, this situation is quite a pickle. And whenever you're in a pickle, you should eat a pickle. This episode is brought to you by Mount Olive Kosher Pickles.
Kosher.
That's Yeah, man, you really know how to handle a pickle. Good job, dude. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's why I should say. That's why I introduced it to everybody because he really knows how to handle a pickle. This is Connor the Gut
Hey,
Marshall.
if you want to win a championship, you might have to.
Secrets out.
You should have a crucial kryptonite and kosher pick.
Hey,
Oh,
look at that.
yeah.
Look at
I need
that.
to start having kosher picks.
That's
No,
awesome.
it's a guaranteed. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our ninth episode, and just remind everybody, if you are entertained by just three generational knuckleheads bantering about, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll feel the love, and you'll get every episode to help you up to the draft and through your season, help you to win this thing. Yeah, because the gut, he's a back-to-back champion. He's got 2 rings, and he's dropping some really serious knowledge. So
Trying to
it's good stuff.
three-peat.
Yeah. So last week, last episode, we hit on Jamal Adams' trade to the Seahawks, the name change to Washington Team Football, or that's what I'm calling them, or
WTF for sure.
yeah, for sure, right? Yeah. And then also we discussed the NFC kickers and defenses. So make sure and check that out, guys, because that's a position that a lot of people. A lot of fantasy shows they neglect, and it's on your starting roster, and it can really help you win. Ask the gut again, 2 rings. Yeah, I should start calling you Connor 2 rings. That's what we should start calling you,
two
man.
Shanes. 2 rings.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, there you go, dude. And so along that line, this week we're going to be discussing the AFC kickers and defenses,
Yes.
and the doc will also unveil his COVID killer list.
Yes.
And last week we talked about the return of the widely popular things that don't matter, but who knows? We didn't get to it. We were going to get to it, but guess what, guys? It looks like it really didn't matter. So yeah. So now we know. So we don't have to explain. We don't have to go through it. But so we're gonna just go ahead and jump straight into the quick shots. And again, just a quick reminder, guys, to plead with your commissioner to add as many IR spots as available to help get ready for COVID. And also remove the waiver wires, man. We're all adults. We know how to play. We know how this game works. So now it's time to remove the training wheels and actually play the game. All
Brian,
right.
don't we have an endorsement from a musical celebrity?
Oh yeah, yeah, right. No, last week we found out that on the back of Gene Simmons' bass, all these years. I mean, the guy's a genius. Everybody knows that.
That's
But he knew.
You can't spell genius without Gene.
Look at you, dude. And so, even in the 70s, in the back of his bass, he had no waiver wires. So that's it. It's just a Gene Simmons. This is replica. This is it, man. This is his axe bass. Said no waiver wires. So, what do you think about that, Gene?
I love it.
There you go. Mr. Man forgot the soundboard again, so now he's responsible for all the sound bites again. Yeah. But that really wasn't Gene Simmons. That was more like the workout guy. Not yeah, not this guy, but the sweating to the oldies. Yeah, that's what you're more like, dude. Yeah. Okay, so jump straight into the quick shot. So first, we're going to start with the Reaper meter. And we introduced this as a way to gauge the NFL season. If it's going to start, well, it's definitely going to. I mean, training camps are starting up, and now we should transfer this. It's a really cool idea. We love it. And again, what's the Mr. Sound guy that forgot the soundboard? What's our Reaper meter?
Come.
Right.
For me, I'm a 2 now. I'm up to a 2 from a 1.
Okay. Now, to be clear, this is not for a full season. For if the season's going to start, it's now to see if it's going to be a full season. So 1 meaning like it's on, like it's going to be a full season. 5 meaning like, dude, we're probably going to have to, cut this down, shut this down before 2021 starts. So Connor, so you're at a 2, is that right?
Yeah, 2.
What's your reasoning?
I'm just seeing the. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. MLB started up, and there have already been major outbreaks within teams, games getting canceled. Just seeing that happen is just kind of brings you back down to reality. We're still in a pandemic, and it's not going anywhere. We can say, "Oh yeah, sports, it's going to happen," and then COVID don't care. So it's got me worried again.
Sounds like a good point. Connor, what's your thoughts, brother?
So I was at a 2.5 last week, right?
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were.
Hey.
Yeah. I think I'm at a 3, man. I don't want to say I'm at a 3. Every fiber of my being wants to be like, it's no big deal, and say like I'm at a 1 or whatever. But a lot of players this last week have come out and said they're not going to play. Y'all remember Goodwin, the wide receiver he was on the Eagles this year. I was really excited about that, with the possibility of Deshaun Jackson, Goodwin. They were going to be an all-speed team.
Yeah,
Jalen
Rager,
not the bad kind. But,
Rager.
Yeah, and Rager. Yeah,
not the 90s.
Yeah, this isn't the 80s, 90s.
Not
the
90s Dallas Cowboys, right? Yeah. Yeah. No.
But on a serious note, I'm concerned, and what I said last week was, so what we're talking about now is we're talking about, is it going to be a full season, right? So
yeah,
we're not talking about if there's going to be football.
Correct.
How much?
Correct.
So just like you guys are concerned with how much football are we going to get, I am concerned with the quality of football that we are going to get. Because you could have a situation where like you have a team win the Super Bowl that should have no business winning it because of how many people aren't playing.
No, I hear you, man.
How the hell did the Cowboys win? Oh, literally every other team opted out. They were the only team that's the only way they'd win.
How about if that happened to the Texans? You'd be super excited.
Yeah, but that's the beauty is I don't live in Dallas.
Well, yeah, you think it's the greatest season in the world, dude. If that happened to the Texans, man.
Yeah, and that's happening to every sport too. I mean, the MLB is playing 60 games, and I mean, the NBA season stopped in the middle and then restarted again. You don't have crowds. That completely removes such an important aspect of live sports. I mean, does the home field advantage, is that still a thing then?
Did you watch the NBA? Did you watch the NBA?
Yeah, that was goofy, man.
Yeah, it's like watching a video game. It was so cool. I loved it,
Rockets, man. Though in overtime.
Oh yeah, Gene, what do you think about the Rockets in overtime?
Because I love it.
There you go. Yeah.
Guttural.
There you go. That's more. Yeah, that's more what he would say. Okay. Yeah. And I'm the optimist, so I'm at a 2. I am but again, cautiously optimistic. I'm just waiting to see like the NBA is a big deal for me too, because they're kind of like in a bubble type thing, where MLB they weren't as protected, so maybe NFL will learn from that. I don't know. They're kind of going into a bubble situation, like having to take temperatures, before every game and all that. So, we'll see. But I want to be optimistic about it. So I'm going to do 2. So the Raheem Mostert, he restructured his contract, got a $250,000 signing bonus for this year. and has incentives to increase his pay, such as but not limited to workout bonuses and of course per game active bonuses. Does this
It would
does
be
this
insensitive if there weren't incentives.
right? That's a good point.
Yeah.
Does it change your rankings on them? And I want to start with Connor because the episode that was not aired, Connor talked about something that was really important that I think is kind of, I think, maybe one of these like hacks to his victories, is that talk about Connor about knowing how important it is to know about the details of a contract of a player that you're considering picking up.
Well, thank you, Brian. And I think that it's important to know how much motivation a player has to perform well. So, for example, one of the earliest memories I have watching football, because I started watching football since I was a little kid, since I was like 5 or 6, right? Like Madden, that was my thing. I remember, Peyton was the good guy that always beat the Texans, and Brady was the bad guy that always beat the Texans. And then I ended up hating them both. But I digress. Chris Johnson, when he was the running back, right? He was the guy.
Okay.
I remember my dad pointing out that after he got paid, he got like progressively worse each year, and I think that just goes to show, like, after you get paid, and maybe it isn't just getting paid. Maybe it's like people figure out your game and they have different ways of tackling you, or maybe it's just the fact that when you're a running back with super high usage, you break down. What I think is important is Raheem Mostert. The whole thesis of his argument was, I was the best running back in this backfield last year, and I want to be treated like it. And they pretty much said, well, we're not going to do that this year because we're the Niners and we don't pay the running backs, but we'll give you the opportunity to get paid to be the best one if you repeat. And, who else is in the backfield? You got an injury-prone in Jerick McKinnon, and then you got a guy that is the king of the hide-and-seek or peekaboo act in Tevin Coleman. He loves to play peekaboo. He's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I scored 3 touchdowns. Now
Yeah.
I'm away for 5 years. Ooh, another 3 touchdowns. I'm away for another 5.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to – I think most –
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah,
Mr. Wilson.
right?
Watch out for Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson comes in on the goal line, so watch out for Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Jeff Wilson Sr. Put some respect on his name. There are others out there.
Sorry. So what you're so does the fact that there's incentives on Raheem Mostert, does that elevate him in your eyes or does that lower him?
If I'm being honest, I know that from a logistical standpoint. Oh, I think I just had a great idea. I don't think I don't think that his situation changes because of this whole like I want to be traded contract. No. But it reminded me that Shanahan, he trusts the hot hand, and he doesn't. If this deal shows me one thing, he is not financially bound to Mostert being the guy. He's still paying him and Tevin Coleman the same thing.
Gotcha.
He has Jerick McKinnon in there, and he has Jeff Wilson. He has a stable, and if he wants to turn to the hot hand, he can at any point.
Yeah.
Mostert's currently going at a 4th pick, and the reason why I'm not picking him up is because, to go back to what we were talking about, he isn't deemed necessarily a crucial pick or a kryptonite pick, but he's a kosher pick. He's going to be steady. He's going to be good, and I don't think he's kosher.
Yeah. Okay. Ethan, your thoughts? Quick.
Well, I mean,
quick shot.
I don't really think that I'm not worried about him getting paid, right? Zeke got paid last year and he delivered. I'm not. I mean, he was RB3 on the year, so I wouldn't say he disappeared after he got paid.
Okay.
The only thing that makes me nervous about Mostert is just the way they've typically run the backfield in San Francisco. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. But picking him up as a flex, or even if you're lucky as a bench, I'm all over that.
Yeah, good point on that. Just going to go ahead and name out 3 names, quick shots, really quick. Okay, give me a real quick feeling on this one name. I'm going to start with you, Doc. Antonio Brown.
Stay away.
Connor. Connor. Dalvin Cook. Reporting on the camp on time.
I'll pick him if I have an early pick and Derrick Henry is not available.
All right, and then back to Doc. Last one. Lashawn McCoy.
Oh, no.
Something stinks. I feel it getting all the way over here from his screen.
No? Okay. No, you don't like Lashawn McCoy going to the championship-bound Tampa Bay, at least in their mind? No?
Okay, for everyone who's thinking about picking Shady McCoy, I
Yeah.
picked him up in both leagues I was in last year, and I waited all year for him to do something with the coach who believed in him more than anyone else will. I guarantee you that Andy Reid believed in him more than Bruce Arians does.
Wow. Yeah, and it was a better offense, too.
Yeah,
so
he didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, step away. Okay, so just going to go and move real quick. You kind of mentioned on this a little bit, Connor, so I just kind of want to, kind of start leaning that way, man. We're talking about on COVID. There's a COVID list for quarantine, and there's also an opt-out one, right? The first one I wanted to go and talk about real quick because there's a few on the COVID list, and the COVID list basically means they've either tested positive for it or they were near somebody that had it, like their family member or something like that. Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to go ahead and just put out these notables and see what you guys think. First I'll start with you. I'll just bounce back and forth like we just did. That seemed to work pretty well. So Connor, this is not fair. Let me go to this next one. Kenny Galladay being on the list. Go for it.
He's on the COVID list.
Yes, he is, sir.
He got the Rona.
Orioles close to it.
Not Mr. Kenny G.
Oh yeah, some smooth sounds. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously he's going to be ready to play by the time the NFL season starts.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
I mean, I forget. Have we talked about the whole antibodies things on this show?
We mentioned it a little bit about how they kind of, they kind of they wait there, or they don't last that long now.
Yeah, they don't last forever. So it's
I saw New York Times had another article recently about.
Good point.
They said actually maybe it does. So I think at this
we
point,
really don't know.
Another good point.
You know.
All right. Okay.
Well, I think. Can I talk about Kenny Galladay while we're on the subject?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, we can.
I'll take him at a third-round pick. That's what I'll say. I'm not scared about the Corona. I'm more scared about his organization and his line than the Rona.
There you go. Okay, Ethan. How about Matthew Stafford being on the code? We just found that out, by the way, guys. We were taping this on August 1st, so first day of August. Yeah, so. So we just found it out right before we taped. I mean, like it popped up that Matthew Stafford now is on the COVID list. So Ethan, how do you feel about that? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's been a quarterback that I'm picking up late. If I have the ability in those middle rounds to pick up some good wide receivers or running backs, I know Stafford will be there. This doesn't make me any less.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
it's all about picking him, but just definitely going to keep my eye on it.
You know what I'm gathering, guys, is that you're looking at the COVID list on August 1st is not that big of a deal.
It's also not going to be the list that we see at the beginning of the regular season.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I'm really concerned about is Kashan Vaughn, because he's a rookie and he's missing. He's going to be missing the camp. Even though he does exactly what Ronald Jones can't do, now he's got McCoy to deal with and all that. So it's just like, it just sucks that he got put onto the COVID list. Then here comes McCoy. So it says a lot in my opinion. So Mason Crosby's on there, but everybody already hates Mason Crosby in here except for me. So, and Devontae Booker, I spelt it on my notes with 3 O's. So I was like, I'm going to keep it. Booker. Yeah. Booker. Yeah, because he's going to scare you away from Josh Jacobs. Ooh, Booker. But he's not that bad.
I hope he becomes like a thing just so we can say that.
Yeah. Boo. He's going to be scaring you away from Jacobs.
Are there any football games on Halloween?
Yeah, hopefully
gosh.
Vegas would play it. Yeah, boo.
That would
Yeah.
be awesome if the Raiders
would
had
be-
a Halloween game.
Yeah, right. Justin Jefferson's the last one that I would say is notable. Rookie wide receiver for Minnesota. But again, we're not seeing too much on that. Yeah. But then again, that's the one that's fluctuating. These guys are coming back. It's just kind of a pain right now. But these are a list of the ones that, as a taping of the show, that opted out. And I'm just going to go and just list them real quick, and we'll just talk to them. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll just go ahead and bundle them all up, and I think this might actually be a good way to throw the COVID killer, to you, Ethan. So I'll just go ahead and list down the ones that are listed here, throw it to you, and then we'll just go from there. Does that sound like a plan, guys?
Good.
All right. So basically, going down the list of the ones that seem to be significant is Devin Funchess. Then of course, that's a wide receiver for Green Bay, the new one, who that was probably his last snap of, I don't think he's coming back ever again. And then New England linebacker Dante Hightower, New England safety Patrick Chung, Philadelphia wide receiver, as you mentioned, Connor, Marquis Goodwin. And then this one's really interesting, was the New York Giants offensive lineman, their stud from last year, Nate Solder. He opted out, so that's kind of a big thing. That's a big deal right there. And I think I got all the notables. Would you agree, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or are we missing Damian Williams? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the big one that made Eclair just shoot woohoo way up there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's munching on that Eclair, dude, going on each end.
And if any of you other football channels dare steal our nickname that we came up with for him, we will come at you, and we will come at you hard.
Well, at least Connor will, because there'll be a heavy "Where's the Beef" segment coming your way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Ethan, let me throw it your way, man. All these things on the COVID, dude, does that change how you look at things? I know that you were looking at your COVID list. Did these guys come into play? What's your thoughts, brother? What's going on, man?
So when I was thinking about it, we're thinking about all the ways. Obviously, opting out, that's the biggest way that can affect. Because that just, whether they play or not, it can be good. It can clear up a crowded backfield or receiving core, which can be great, right? But it can also thin the selection out. Like you start to have to pick players you're not familiar with. But I think another area in which we don't really
Lazard King. Do you think the Lazard King is going to be a thing now?
Now that Funchess is out, yeah. It totally changes everything. Maybe it increases Devontae Adams' value too.
Yeah,
he's already.
If that's possible.
Well, Aaron Rodgers did seem like he would force feed him at times when he was on the field because he didn't trust any of his other options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when I say up, I mean because Michael Thomas is number one now, but none of the Saints wide receivers have opted out. They still have a pretty crowded, receiving core. Maybe that makes the fantasy community more excited. But what I'm focusing on is, one of the things that COVID has done to this year's season is we have a truncated or shorter training camp. And no preseason. Okay. So that has to raise some flags, right?
Yeah.
Red flags for some players who are moving teams, for rookies coming in. Or at least that was my thinking. So what I did was I went back the last year. We've never had a football season that did not have a preseason, or at least in recent years.
Okay.
But we did have a season, in 2011, where they did have a truncated training camp.
Oh, all right. They'll talk about that.
So what I wanted to do is I want to look at players that flip teams and rookies and see if having less time in training camp. Obviously, it's not a perfect comparison because they had.
Yeah, but dude, it's the closest you got. That's smart. That's why you're the doc right there.
Yeah. So I ran a T-test. No, I'm just kidding. There's just a couple names that I think are pretty notable here. So 2011 saw the introduction of two rookie quarterbacks. We have a young Cam Newton.
Oh,
First year playing for Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
And the Red Rocket himself, Andy Dalton's first year with the Bengals. All right.
Nice. Okay.
And Andy Dalton, he for fantasy purposes, it wasn't spectacular, but they did go to the playoffs with him that year, and he put up a serviceable performance. Now, Cam Newton, however, was QB3 for the year. We're talking a rookie with a truncated training camp, still was to be quarterback 3 for the year. Another notable offseason move was Steve Smith heading to Carolina in the offseason. He was wide receiver 64 the year before in 2010. After arriving in Carolina, he was wide receiver 17 playing with Cam Newton.
Whoa.
So what that tells us is rookie quarterback, new wide receiver, short training camp, didn't matter.
But do you think preseason helped with that?
That is why it's not a perfect comparison. That is definitely why.
Don't look over there. Look over here.
Well, I gotta look at my notes, man. I can't.
No, but it does come into thought like you're like well, I mean the star rookie, that quarterback that is that everybody's talking about, Cincinnati, but people are bowing away from him because of so it might not be a bad pickup like what you're saying, like 14th, 15th, whatever,
No, and AJ Green, that was his rookie year in Cincinnati, and he finished wide receiver 15 on the year.
Wow. How about that?
So you've got Tyler Boyd, you've got AJ Green, you've got Joe Mixon, all backing up Joe Burrow with an ideally improved from offseason acquisitions O-line. So he doesn't have a preseason. Maybe it hurts his value early in the year, but if Cam Newton serves as any kind of, at least his performance in 2011, it's possible to perform at a high level even without a full training camp experience.
Fantastic, dude. That's some good research right there, big time.
Yeah, and just a couple more. Darren Sproles.
Okay.
You go to New Orleans that year. Went from RB 43 to RB 10.
Whoa.
Reggie Bush went from New Orleans to Miami. Went from RB 68 to RB 13.
Okay.
So the point being, there's a couple players that maybe it should be concerning for, but we shouldn't let these players fall off our radar. If you were looking at Joe Burrow, but now you aren't because there's not a preseason, I say pick up something like a Stafford or something like that, a late round quarterback, and then pick up Joe Burrow so you can stash him and then throw him in when he, hopefully acclimates.
Well, I have a question. He also has a tough beginning schedule. Joe Burrows does.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. Go ahead, Connor.
I have a question for the doctor. Joe Burrow or Daniel Jones?
Woo! You'll get them in the same time. Good question. Yeah, good question.
What makes me worried about Daniel Jones is his fumbling issues.
Yes.
What about Nate Solder?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That
if he already
make the fumbling worse,
my lugs.
His O-line goes down, then that's. I would go. I'd go Burrow. I'd go Burrow over Jones, I think.
Whoa.
See, I would go Jones, even though I agree with you about the fumbling problem.
But that's thing. I've got another quarterback in my back pocket that they're not my starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I can plug him in whenever I need. Ideally, not until the middle or the end of the season.
So with maybe there's like one game where he has a good matchup, and your other quarterback is playing someone you don't want to start against.
Yeah.
So if you're picking a quarterback late, don't wait too late. Okay.
Very true.
You'll end up with that.
Yeah. I mean, we still have guys like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers that are going late, guys.
Yeah. Those are more the late, and of course my heartthrob for this year, Tannehill. That's my do it again, Connor. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear it, dude.
That one? Did you hear that one?
No, it starts from the beginning and cuts out. So I guess your mic's like, nope. There you go. There you go.
But I will say for mine, the players that concern me the most, I'm concerned about most of the receiving core for the Texans. There's not a receiver in the Texans receiving core that really makes me super excited.
Cooks doesn't. I mean, dude, the guy's really good.
He makes me excited at the value that I get him at. He makes me excited.
Well, yeah.
Like the fact that I can get a 10-pack of generic hash browns at Kroger's for $1 makes me excited. It's not because it's the best thing ever. It's because I can get.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking picking them up in like the end of the draft or picking, as an undrafted person, that's one thing. I'm talking about spending. Will Fuller is going in like what, the 8th or 9th round?
Mm-hmm. Not in all drafts though. In the one we just did today, he fell pretty late.
Oh, because every draft I've been in, he's been going before the double digits.
Good point.
And I don't want to mess with that. Like that's too high. If we're talking picking 13, 14, 15, you're picking up Brandon Cooks, I don't have a problem with that. But don't draft capital on them.
Real quick question, Ethan. In your research, like all the ones that you talked about that did really well, they were either like the only new to their team were like rookies. Well, you did say Smith, right?
Yes.
Smith went there. So is there any other wide receivers that you know of that went to different teams in 2011 that succeeded? Because here's what I'm thinking. So not only Cooks, because a lot of people are talking down about Diggs too because of the same reason, and Hopkins because of the same reason. So I wanted to see if there's any proof that you found that shows that D-Hop actually is a second round pick, or that Diggs really should probably not go in the 8th round.
I was trying to look for like notable players, right? Like Steve Smith.
I understand. Yeah.
Plaxico Burress moved teams, but he was at the end of his career. He ended up, and he was out the year before because he was suspended.
Okay.
He ended up wide receiver 36.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He didn't do too well. He didn't bounce back well. No.
I mean, he hadn't played for 2 years.
Yeah.
And he was at the end of his career, so I didn't bring that up. Brandon Lloyd switched teams in the middle of the year, so that doesn't really count.
No.
But he did have a new quarterback, or a newish quarterback, that year, and he was on pace for a 1,000 plus yard receiving season before they traded him to the Rams.
Okay.
But pretty much everyone else, nothing notable. Brad Smith, Steve Breston, Roy Williams, Sidney Rice. They all pretty much, it was lateral moves.
Okay.
It went from wide receiver 97 to 68. Either way, maybe somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
But none of them went really in the only one that took a big downturn was Lee Evans. Went from wide receiver 55 in 2010 to wide receiver 148.
Oh my God. Man, his deal with the devil expired, didn't it?
Well, what this tells me is, like, originally I was kind of out on D-Hop, right? Because not a really good training camp, but I'm looking at how elite wide receivers performed on a new team with very little time to get to know, and they still did good.
Yeah.
Well,
Connor loves that stack, the Kyler Murray D-Hop stack.
For a couple seconds.
No, let's move on. No, yeah,
well,
of course.
I do want to move on to kickers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, how about this? Any more cool points about that? Because I know this is going to be an ongoing list, Ethan. Like this COVID killer thing is going to keep going. Any other things you picked up that you want to spill out real fast?
I think the last big notable swap was Tom Brady, right, to the Buccaneers, right? I mean, that's a huge. But once again, like, to me, Tom Brady, it doesn't make me nervous, right? Because he's surrounded by talent, and they just added a safety blanket that he's worked with for a lot of his career. So I guess the only one I'm really nervous about is the wide receivers in Houston.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead and talk, Connor. This would be cool for you. Go ahead and talk about the D-Hop and the Kyler Murray stack, and then Yeah, and then go ahead and move on to your to the AFC list. Yeah, the kickers.
This will be 2 quick shots, real quick.
Okay, go for it.
I want to talk about Tom as well.
Okay.
And I'll start with the latter. Would you guys agree that this is the best supporting cast he's probably had since he had Randy Moss and Wes Welker?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
At
least deep threat. Absolutely
yeah.
best deep threat. Yeah. Yeah.
But he has a stable of tight ends. He has good running backs. He has a decent offensive line. He has a great
better
coach.
Now.
Yeah, better now. He has a decent defense. They were a good run defense last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Tom Brady is actually not. He's one of the guys you can target whenever you're looking late because he's not going till like 10, 11 or something like that.
Yeah, I've been picking him up regularly in my drafts.
Yeah, but as a 2 or as a 1?
As a 2.
As a 2. Okay. Back up to whom normally?
I like picking up Breeze or Ryan.
Okay.
In
like
the 8th or 9th.
Yeah, that's about a good spot for those guys. All right. Yeah. Okay. So talk about the stack there,
so the stack,
Connor.
right? So what's great about the Cardinals is they love to run 4 wide receiver sets. And I was thinking last year, I was like, the Texans, they had a very peculiar way of using their talent. They would run a lot of like sets where like, yeah, D-Hop was getting force-fed the work, but he was also getting double-teamed. And like he was like the only, like whenever you looked at the formation, it's like, well, if they're throwing it, they got to throw it to D-Hop.
Right.
He's not in that situation anymore. If you're lining up DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, maybe Andy Isabella, maybe some other 4th guy or whatever, and then you have Drake in the backfield, and Murray can run. You can't double team. You can't stack the box against Drake. You can't like have a spy out for Murray. Like maybe you can do one of those things that I'm describing. Maybe you can like just double D-Hop and like that's all that you're worried about. But if you do that, then Murray can run the middle with Drake. Like if you have to, something will get you with this offense. That's how good it is. And I love D-Hop in this system because if he did how good he did when he was on the Pirate that is the Texans being manned by Bill O'Brien, I totally love him in an air raid offense with, I mean, I'm not going to say that Murray is better than Deshaun Watson, but Murray looked good last year. He already has his throwing, like he knows when to get rid of the ball. He knows how to protect his body. He's going to be awesome for fantasy, and I'm all in on the Kyler Murray D-Hop stack.
And you can get Kyler Murray in the 6th round?
That's where I'm taking him, yes.
Nice. And so you go after D-Hop, 2nd or 3rd rounds? Second? Okay, I remember we did one mock yesterday where you picked like in a 10-man, you picked 10th, and you went Devontae Adams first. Is that right? I think you did that.
I think I went Nick Chubb first.
Nick Chubb, okay.
And then I got D-Hop, and then I got like a running, like I think I got Eckler or something like that.
Yeah. Everybody had a really good team on that. It worked out really, really well.
We did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We did.
Yeah, which this is a good important PSA here. Make sure, guys, whenever you're doing the drafts, your mock drafts, go do your strategy for both the beginning and the later rounds because you don't know which one you're going to get. Yeah, because you might get surprised and everything is different.
The doc was just talking about that because Doc, you were saying which one do you feel more comfortable with?
I like going later, having a later pick to start, just because I know I can get 2 top 10 potential RBs right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm more of the higher pick guy. Like not one. That was 3. A miserable.
I really like 3
or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, and I like the later one too. Okay, so kickers and D's. So we did NFC. We're gonna do AFC this time. Now, I'm not as good as Brian, so I only did top 5. But we'll talk about the other ones. But
Lazy.
I want to take this opportunity to provide a little more nuance to the situation because we're having this discussion of defenses and kickers, which is one thing that most fantasy shows won't touch anyway. So I don't think it's doing our fans justice if we just brush up on the two-dimensional. Well, here are the good guys, right? There's more nuance to it. For example, talking about the Cardinals. Cardinals were historically bad against tight ends last year, and you knew if you needed to stream a tight end, I can just pick up literally whoever is playing the Cardinals, and I will get 12 points at least. I don't know.
So is your list going 5-1, or what are you doing here, dude?
I'll give you 5-1. I'll give you the top 5.
Okay.
So starting with defenses. Now I had the Patriots in my top 5, but since half of their roster opted out, they are no longer in the top 5.
Which Ethan had something interesting to say about that. You want to pop in real quick, Ethan? Because I mean, I was throwing shade at New England Patriots, and you started throwing all this like stats and knowledge, as to why we should not look down upon the New England Patriots.
Well, first, a little context to this. I don't have them in the top 5, right? Okay. But if the top 5 are taken and you are having to pick outside of the top 5, I don't think New England is a bad choice. I lost all my notes.
But you were talking about the on the COVID, like on the opt out, the Hightower and the Chung opting out. How that really wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, no. So Hightower, that hurts because their depth at the linebacker position is not nearly as serviceable, right? In the secondary, however, they have more depth, and Chung fell off last year. Chung did not perform well. It was one of his worst years statistically. So, you weren't going to be able to necessarily rely. Their defense was stellar last year, and Chung didn't perform. So obviously their secondary was delivering in other areas. Hightower does hurt, but the other thing that's not being talked about as much is because these players opted out, New England was on the verge of being at the cap. That cleared a ton of cap space for them. And so they're going to be on the prowl. So, before you ditch them as a defense.
Clowney.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's murmurs of Clowney potentially being back in there. I don't know if it would be a fit. But you got to wait and see how this plays out. I don't think that the Patriots are just going to sit back and proceed as now that they have cap space. I can easily see them going and picking up more depth at linebacker to help out. So that's it. I'm not saying they're going to be top 5, but let's wait and see how the rest of the offseason plays out.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So
it's your floor, Connor.
I'm not gonna lie, the doc did kind of persuade me a little that the Patriots aren't as bad as I thought they were gonna be, and I can't think of another good defense. So I'm gonna put the Patriots in at number 5.
Number 5.
Good job. Good job, Ethan. The doc strikes.
The doc strikes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's awesome.
I have a couple of defenses that I want to talk about for number 4 because you guys are talking about Clowney and we don't know where he's going to sign.
Right.
And I want to talk about the different destinations that I think he could go to.
Awesome. Go for it.
They're in the AFC. The Browns and Titans have both been making noise about getting him. And I think that both of those defenses would be super awesome if he was because both teams that want to run the ball. Cleveland with him and
Myles Garrett.
Man, watch out, Mason Rudolph. That's all I can say on that. But if he goes to the Titans, I think that would be even more awesome. You could see like a top 3 potentially, because with Derrick Henry and then you have Clowney, and the Titans already have a good defense. The Browns defense is kind of good, but kind of not. Yeah. So I really like that. Coming in at number 3, I'm gonna put.
Who was number 4?
The 4 is a tie between the Browns and Titans.
Okay,
yes.
Is that with or without Clowney on them? Is it both of them without Clowney?
Both of them with, and then I will put the Titans in at 4, even if they don't have him.
Okay, and so Cleveland is out if there's no Clowney.
Yes.
Okay, cool, gotcha. And then if there is Clowney, then tie it at 4.
This is a confusing list. I know. I'm sorry. In at 3 are the Ravens. Now the Ravens last year, it was a tale of two halves. Before,
3? Hang on, 3? Wow.
Third, yes.
Wow. People are picking them like number 1 or number 2 in the
Yes,
AFC.
and
Yeah.
I
Wow. Yeah. Go for it, my brother.
That is way too
I
high
see
for the
that.
Ravens, yes.
Go for it. Go for
And
it.
the doc can attest to that because we were just in a draft, and that was the first defense that got picked, and I gave
Yeah.
him some flack
Ninth
for it.
round or 8th round or something.
It was the 7th, dude.
7th.
It was the 7th. Yeah.
Gotta lock down. Gotta lock it down.
8th.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
there's always that one guy that like has to pick the Niners in the 8th, but you know, just
First pick.
Yeah.
no, I think the Ravens are a great defense, especially now that they have Marcus Peters, because they were way better with him. I like their special teams. I like their return game. I like the defense. I think they're good. I just I see them being like a 4th or 5th like defense overall if we're including the AFC and the NFC. But one thing that's important to note, guys, is with defenses, the disparity between a defense is not as great as with other rankings. Like you're looking at maybe like 8 or 9, or even like 10 points by the end of the season that separate each one of these, and maybe not. Maybe it's more like 6 points. But
Question: does Baltimore play KC or Arizona?
I know that they play KC.
Yeah,
Okay.
they play KC in week 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really the most I mean, other than that, they got a pretty
They'll
Chill.
play Arizona.
yeah.
Okay.
No, they don't play Arizona.
Okay.
What worries me, and I've talked about this before, is the Ravens' weakness is that you can run on them, and it's easy to, lose a lot of fantasy points if Nick Chubb is scoring 3 touchdowns on you every time he sees you.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, what would also make me nervous is that Baltimore Ravens are kind of a quick strike offense,
Yes.
which is great, but at the same time, is your defense like, oh great, we just sat down, and then Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it's like, we got you an interception. We were supposed to have a break. The next thing
Yeah.
you score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, they're kind of like the New Orleans Saints of the AFC. They get into shootouts.
And they don't want to play slow. They want to score as many points as possible.
Yeah, they're a quick strike team. That's kind of their thing.
Speaking
But
of
man, the schedule, whew,
yeah, the schedule is ooh.
good for them. I don't feel bad for them.
All right.
In at number
good.
2.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Iron Curtain, the Steelers.
Whoa.
Their
Whoa.
defense literally carried them to almost the playoffs without Ben, alleged Predator Burger, and company. They still managed their way to almost. Yeah, see? I didn't say a bad word, but I still managed to throw his name in the mud. Their defense is good, man. Their defense is good. And
Well, they beefed it up last. If you remember last year, when at the trade deadline, they traded and beefed. Yeah, and they beefed up their defense, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? Why are you guys doing that? You should be, throwing in the towel, getting draft picks, and all that." But now you see why they did what they did. Yeah.
Get draft picks in the form of guys that they already know are good.
Right. Schedule. How's the schedule?
Their schedule is pretty golden. That's why they get the number 2 spot.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Giants, Broncos, Texans, Titans, Eagles, Browns. Well, they do play the Ravens, right? So they get the Ravens twice, which should scare you a bit.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm really not all that nervous. Other than those 2 games.
Would you flip your 3 of the 2, knowing now that that Pittsburgh plays Baltimore twice?
No.
All right.
Because
And
well, we're forgetting that Steelers when Roethlisberger plays, they can put up some points.
they
Like
really
we
can.
that. Like last year they blew, but they didn't have Roethlisberger.
Yeah, and
We can't forget that either.
They have
gotcha.
some wide receivers.
Whoa.
I don't like
I see.
Juju as a 1. I want to be clear about that. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. But they drafted Chase Claypool. They drafted guys to come in at wide receiver. They have other guys.
That's the guy who plays on Primus, right?
Chase Claypool, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you heard it here first. If Chase Claypool is going to be something, he's going to be the next Megatron, because that is the profile that everyone was giving him at the draft. For all of you people who for some reason don't know which football player was nicknamed Megatron, it's none other than Calvin Johnson. And they have Deontay Johnson, who was making some noise last year. He could take a step forward. They have a lot of tight ends who could be something. We don't know. Ebron, Van Stance. There's some guys.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And whenever Doc brought up that, they Pitts or Baltimore plays, or Pittsburgh, the whole schedule thing, and it came out that Baltimore actually plays Pittsburgh twice and KC. I mean, dude, that's not good.
And the Browns that can run, you got to play them twice. Don't the Ravens play the Titans this year too?
But yeah, both of them do.
Yeah, but like once again, that's a team that can run on.
Yeah, dude. Wow, look at that. Vetting. Look at you. Yeah, peristalsis.
Right. And number 1.
I know. Yeah. I do. I already know who it is too.
You guys already know who it is.
Yeah. They make really good wings. Good wings. Really good wings.
East Coast wings.
Yeah. Don't you know that's where they came from?
Oh gosh, you really threw me off, because when I heard wings, I was thinking of a bird, and I was like, this team isn't a bird.
No, this is where they originated from.
This is where wings originated from.
Yeah.
Although the best wings do not come from here. The Buffalo Bills, the best team at making it to the Super Bowl but not winning. The Buffalo Bills. They have a really good defense.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was a Bills fan then.
Fans.
4 times in a row against the Cowboys. Why you got to bring up that stuff, man? Come on, we're having a good show.
Fan, and I will always hate the Bills because they beat the Oilers.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I understand you're rooting for them over the Cowgirls. That sometimes there's necessary evils, man.
That's exactly what I was looking at. It hurt every time.
It's like,
Well, again, go ahead and say what Bills stands for, the acronym. Go ahead and say that. Yeah, everybody knows what it is.
Best in...
Ethan, do you know what it is? No? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
I did not.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I heard that a lot from Cowboy fans. Yeah.
Connor, I do have to ask, where would you? Because I would have at least toyed with the idea. I know they have a rough schedule, but the Chiefs would be near the top 5.
Good point. Yeah,
I would have them like the 6 to 10 range.
Okay,
that's a big range,
right? But like we talked about in fantasy, there's not really that much that separates the 6 from the 10. The reason, so I'll go 2 parts, because I know that the Bills as the 1 is probably getting your brains thinking. You're like, why? They play the Jets twice, they play the Dolphins twice, and they play a Patriots team in rebuild mode twice. We don't know how.
They play the Jets twice.
Yeah, the Jets. They're in their division.
The Chiefs.
No, I'm talking about the Bills.
Oh, you're talking about the Bills. I got you.
Yeah, the Chiefs. Let me pull up their schedule.
They have a rough schedule. They play the Saints, the Bucks. They have
the Ravens, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that you have to be worried about.
I mean, they play the Texans too. I mean, you might not be worried about that.
I wouldn't compare them to number 1. I don't think that they're competing for the number 1 spot. On defense. I guess to me, like maybe that 4th spot, I would have seen the Chiefs there, or maybe the 5th spot, with New England just under them. That was my only. Otherwise, that the list was killer. But you know what? You make a great point, because if Tennessee picks up Clowney, I don't think I would put. I mean, Chiefs would be number 5.
Yeah, if that happens, now that you're bringing that up, I have no problem putting the Chiefs ahead of the Patriots at the 5, and no, and I don't have a problem putting the Browns ahead of the Patriots. If,
Doc strikes again.
Yeah. So Patriots are now
Sniper.
They are, or they're what, the 7th now. They've been moved twice. So we have the Chiefs. I'll put them in at 5, and I'll put the Browns in at 6. So
Okay.
Patriots, Browns, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens, Steelers, Bills.
Where did Patriots go?
7th.
7th. Okay.
And then I'll put in the Broncos at 8th, the Texans at 9, and yeah.
Buffalo. Why Buffalo number 1? Talk about why Buffalo number 1. Other than the schedule, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, besides that, it's the combination of their schedule, which is good, and then just they're a defensive team. They have a defensive-minded coach. They like to run the ball and defense. They're one of those old school just mentalities, and that's what gives them the number 1 spot for me.
Okay. Whenever you're picking a quarterback or anything like that, or wide receiver, anything offense, should you consider if they play Buffalo? Because you're with how stout you're talking about they are. Because I remember last year I didn't want to play any of my players against Buffalo's defense.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that was the only time I didn't play Julian Edelman was against Buffalo. Yeah.
Well, I think this is when you bring out the crucial kryptonite or kosher meter, because there's guys that are matchup proof and there's guys that aren't.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper is not matchup proof. He turned into one of the ghosts that Sam Darnold saw when he played against the Patriots.
That's awesome.
The thing about the Bills that's so scary to me is how, at least in 2019, and to my knowledge, there hasn't been any moves that would make us think the same defense isn't going to show up.
Yeah.
It's just across the board. Number 2 in points allowed, number 3 in total defense, number 4 pass defense, number 6 in first downs allowed, number 7 in third down defense, number 10 in run defense, number 10 in sacks. I mean, that's about as well-rounded as every aspect of the game that you've covered.
There's no easy hole just to, they have this problem.
Yes.
That's literally what propelled them above the Ravens. And the reason why the Steelers aren't the number 1 is because you have the volatile nature of the offense. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Now, what about special teams? Right. So we're focusing on defense here. What about points off of special teams? Like, which of those top 5 teams do you think have good return games? Like the best opportunity for returns for touchdown?
That's a terrific question. I think that's when teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, those guys deserve an honorable mention right away. Obviously, the Patriots have always been a good organization at special teams, so I never count them out. Off the top of my head, I don't remember how good the Bills were at return game last year. Did either of you guys know if they got any? Ooh, that's the timer.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're probably gonna have to put the kickers off for the next episode, which is cool because that lets everybody have something to look forward to. But yeah, we can still. You're the timekeeper, big time. So yeah,
let's go 5 more minutes because I want to figure out this return game thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Special teams for last.
All right. Yeah, I know that New England, that's one thing that didn't change with all these COVID things is their return, and dude, I had them last year. I remember one time, I got like 30 points from my defense because their return game was so awesome, so you're right about that. That's one thing to really consider when you're picking out a defense is that it's 3 letters, guys. It's not just D, it's DST, special teams, so you got to keep that in mind, whenever you're picking. I know that NFC, whenever we went through it, there wasn't really any teams that had special teams, but the AFC, I remember just New England just killing it. And so that's one really good thing to keep in mind. Yeah, I really like the idea what you're talking about with KC, with them being return champions. That needs to be considered, because again, with the criteria I was using was making sure that if they played, against Baltimore, KC, or Arizona, well, they're not playing against KC, so they already got that out. So and they're already like, they have an explosive offense, so they're putting a lot of pressure on that other offense to pass more, which makes them more one-dimensional, which means that there's going to be more turnovers, and that means that there you go, blah 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 blah. And, so that was really good on you, Doc, to pull out KC on that. That was a really good question.
Yeah, because I always, I mean, I think we lose track because they were kind of meh during the first half of the year, but I mean,
right,
they turned it up for the last half of the year.
Well, that's what we talk about also, is that whenever you're looking at fantasy football, you try to look at the second half of last season to and if everything kind of stayed the same, then it's a very good indicator of what this season's going to be like. We were in a draft with this one guy that was giving me a lot of static about Tannehill. But dude, I mean, if you look at Tannehill, the last half, dude, he was a top 3 quarterback. Is that right, Ethan? Right?
I remember reading it correctly. He was one of the top 3 just fantasy performers over the last. And he, it was Tannehill. I picked him up off of
there you go.
The waivers, and dude, wow,
just took off. Yep. And nothing really changed other than more money in his pocket. Yep. So, is he going to get paid and get fat like a Le'Veon Bell? Or, is it going to really make him go, push him, like say, hey, I'm going to work hard for it?
I say he's hungry, dude. I mean, the only thing that would make me nervous about Tannehill is just that they had like an insane efficiency that you may worry about some regression, but at the same time, I mean, what do you look for? Like, what stats do you look for? Like, what do you want out of a quarterback? Tannehill's got it. So
yeah, one question I've been having, Ethan, I'd be curious to get your opinion on this, is that because of how I pick and how I draft, it's very possible for me to have Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, and Tannehill, and even Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so if you turn around, I mean, and the offense is good, but it's not KC where you want like as much as you can get from it, but just the way things falls, like how I prioritize things and how the listing and ranking. If you came out of a draft with those guys on your team, with the idea that AJ Brown's your number 1 wide receiver, Derrick Henry is your number 1 running back, Jonnu Smith is like your 3rd or 2nd tight end, he's not your first, and Tannehill your number 1 QB, how would you feel about that?
I feel great. Because think about the defenses that they face for 6 games out of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Texans, Colts, Jacksonville. So we didn't mention those today because they're not great defenses, right? Maybe the Colts.
The Jacksonville Thanos.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, I'm like, if I'm going to pick a lot of players from one team, I want to look at their schedule, and I want to see, are they playing? Do they have some games where the offense is just going to be sputtering the way through? If when I look at the Titans, I'm not nearly as scared in that end than I am. Like, say, if you're in the if you're going to pick like not to hate on your stack, Connor, but if you're in the NFC best, right?
Yes.
And you've got a stack of Arizona, that's great, but you got to face San Francisco twice. You got to
twice.
Seattle, right? Who just got a star cornerback, right?
Yeah.
And the Rams defense is nothing to scoff at either.
They're not.
And they just get overshadowed because San Francisco is in there.
We call it the NFC best.
Yeah. And so to me, I look at your move, Brian, and I wouldn't be scared because of their schedule, because of who they play most of the time. I wouldn't be nervous about it.
All right, cool. All right, makes me feel better. I'll sleep better at night. Yeah, because it's always sometimes bothered me, man. I'm like, it's supposed to be good, and I would pick him if I didn't have Derrick Henry. I'd be so excited about having Brown and and all that stuff, But I'm like, it wasn't computing. It was like, yeah, So
well, that's to me, and I know neither of y'all are big fans of the Cowboys, right? But I mean, imagine if you had Prescott and Cooper and Zeke, right? Like, look at their schedule. They're in the NFC least, right?
Yeah.
You got Washington football team, and
team football.
WTF?
Yeah.
Eagles, right? Like, and the Giants. So once again, not a bad stack to have if you consider what their schedule looks like.
Okay. Connor, you got the special teams figured out. Dude, you're yawning at 5. Yeah, it's like sun out. Oh my God. Like old people are having dinner now. They're not even napping now. They're having dinner.
as a young child, do y'all remember who? This is a segue, but this is important. Do y'all know who Apollo Ono is? Do y'all remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the famous.
Yeah, the Olympian, right?
Olympian skater. I remember I remember watching him like just shred ice and win races like it was easy, and he would always like yawn at the end of them, and I was like, why is he doing that? And like in an interview, he was like, oh yeah, like one time I went to the zoo like and I saw lions, and they're like always yawning no matter what time of day, and he's just like, I want to be a lion. And like as a little kid, I just heard that and I was like, yeah. So I think just subconsciously I yawn. I'm not even that tired. I just yawn sometimes.
Lions yawn because they have the lioness doing
rings.
all the work. Okay, and they just sit around. Okay.
No, because the lioness has always wanted to. Lionesses. Okay, never.
No, they hunt. Dude, they're hunters and everything.
They also mate up to 15 times a day when they're in heat. Maybe the lion is tired. He just wants to take a nap and eat a sandwich.
Wow, dude. Okay, make sure, dude. I mean, you might pull something when you get older, stretching that far for a point. So be careful with that, dude, when you get older. All right. Dude?
Is that what happened to you last night?
No, I slept on the couch wrong last night.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm finding out.
Be wary of stretching for points and sleeping on couches.
Yeah, it wasn't because I was in trouble. It literally was because, I found a TV show that I DVR'd and I just kind of got,
That's a beautiful
focused
thing.
Ice Road Truckers. Ice Road Truckers is awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
To answer your original question, I don't think the Bills' return game was that good because I couldn't get any stats on
it. Oh, well, there you go.
But the Chiefs did have a good one, so I was right about that. The Saints also have a good, but they're NFC. But while we're on the topic, they have a good return game.
We talked about that already. Thank you. Yeah. So you said that the Chiefs do. Okay, so based on what Ethan was talking about. That we were just talking whenever you were doing you're doing your research. Would you move the Chiefs up now? I mean,
no, because they're such an offensively minded team. Their defense got better last year, but 2 years ago they were like the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good point.
You don't go from 32nd to like 15th to 17th is kind of the range they were in last year, then to like 4 or 3.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Maybe I'm wrong, and I'd love to be wrong because the Chiefs are. I mean, they're not even getting taken in some drafts.
Right? Yeah. They're going undrafted. Yeah, Philadelphia is being picked before the Chiefs, which is insane.
That's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you want to bring up? Because we're at about the hour point.
Yeah. I think we're almost on the 10-minute mark past it, but that was some good stuff. Yeah, to talk about. So I'm good. Ethan, you got anything else to add?
No, just thanks for putting that together, Connor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. Feel better about New England again.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel good about Titans, and you feel good about New England. Look at that. Worked out well. It's a feel-good show, guys.
It's a feel-good show, y'all.
Yeah, if y'all want to feel good, like and subscribe, man. It's a feel-good show. Yeah. Family-oriented. Yeah. It's right. Right. But what's really cool is that we spent so much time on the defense that we didn't get to the kickers, but we're going to be able to spend some time on the kickers next week, guys. So our next episode, we will be going ahead and going over the defenses and kickers.
And here's the kicker. We're going to do a draft.
Hey, there we go. So 10, 12, what are you guys thinking? 10 or 12? Which one you feeling? Ethan, your choice.
I love the tins. They stress me out less.
Now you know how I feel.
Well, see, you know what? I really think 10 man, in my opinion, is the best league to get on because everybody is good. And so everybody has fun. And this is a game, dude. You know, this is what this is. That's why I was talking about the waiver wire. Waiver wire takes the fun out. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a game, especially right now, COVID. Everybody's all sad and everybody's, you know, every news that you get is sad and sadder and sadder.
Sad.
You know, and so what we do, we turn to games. That's why we're so excited about about NFL coming back, you know. So 10 man, everybody's good, you know, so everybody has fun. Take off the waiver wire. Everybody will have fun. It's time to take that
slots as possible.
Yes,
No
the training
communism,
wheels. Yeah,
no
take the training wheels. Because seriously, dude. Because, you know, I was thinking just real quick, I mean, we're about to close the show, but I wanted to throw this out there. The reason why I keep saying training wheels is I think that the waiver wire was first implemented when they were trying to do fantasy football and get people like excited about it because you didn't know how the stats worked, didn't know how it worked. So you wanted to put in that fail safe in there. So in case, you know, like if you screwed up, then okay, you can learn the game. Well, dude, that was like back in the 90s. Okay. You know, this is 2020.
Dial up when it took 3 days to get your thing in. That's
exactly. Yeah, before the internet, actually. Yeah, and so so now it's 2020, the year of clear vision. I mean, we're taking down Confederate statues. You know, where people are seeing like all this old stuff that we've been doing. Like, why are we doing this? It's stupid. It's, you know, Confederacism, racism, waiver wire, communism.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wire, all the same.
It all goes together, you know. But no,
needs to be gotten rid of at the same time.
It needs to be taken down. Yes, so we need to grab it.
Yeah, this is the year that we have to get rid of the waiver wire.
Dude, it's time. Okay, and look, guys, and you have to realize that you are right now. You're a grown man on a bicycle with training wheels going down the street. That's what you are right now when you play this game with the waiver wire. Nobody wants to be that guy. Take the training wheels off. So so we're gonna be every show we record these most of the time on late Sunday night. We'll do it during the season. It'll be late Sunday night. Today was a weird one. It's a Saturday, which has kind of worked out kind of well, even though Connor was still yawning. Mr. I'm a lion. You know, but come on, man. You know, you're old. Okay.
I have the name to back it up.
You do that. Yeah. Enjoy it while you can. Okay. And so, but we record them on Sunday night so we can have them up and going on Monday morning. So we can help you get a jump on what moves to make based on the events of Sunday, help you prepare for Monday Night Football, let you know about the waiver wires if they're still around. Hopefully they're not. And when the season starts, we'll be releasing a show on Thursday morning to help you prepare for Thursday night. So please, just another reminder, guys, you know, if you enjoyed what you watch, you know, if you're looking forward to hearing about the kickers, watching us do a 10-man draft, you know, just a bunch of knuckleheads just kind of bantering about fantasy football, hit the like button. You subscribe. Let us know you're out there and that you're loving the show. Yeah. Any parting words, guys? Any parting words? Parting shots. Any parting shots, Ethan?
Man, just, you know, stay safe.
Connor, parting words.
I think Antonio Brown's going to get signed.
And on that note, remember everyone, and fantasy football is in life. Don't dream it, be it. Enjoy your week. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.